relationship. And if nothing else, I pray that you hear this, that Leviticus reminds me and reminds you that redemption, being made new, being the slate wiped clean, comes through relationship with Jesus. That we are redeemed because he came and sacrificed for you and for me. And we don't have to work at it. There's nothing you can do. You can't serve your way to God going, oh, I love you now. You can't attend enough church services and small groups where then God goes, you know what? I wasn't too sure about you. But now that you attended 85 Sunday services, you are in my good graces. That is not at all how it works. You see, God says, because you are loved and because Jesus came, you have been set free. You have been made new. You have been redeemed. Now be in relationship with him. And there's some things that we're really called to by God, is that redeemed people always have an open seat at the table. You see, we've been invited to the table by God because of the sacrifice of Jesus, and we always leave a seat open at the table. Now, here's where it gets very difficult for believers, and I would say even more so within the context of the 20th century as we move into these moments, because I wonder if at the table you would be okay with sitting with Republican, Libertarian, Democrat, all at the same table. Now, you may say you're okay, but I wonder how often we actually do that, or do we invite people in that look, act, talk, and vote just like us? Would you be okay at sitting at the table with someone who's straight, who's LGBTQ, who's non-binary? Now, you may say, I don't even agree or disagree, or I don't, Redeemed people always have an open seat at the table. You see, where did we get that somehow we were supposed to agree on everything with every single person before we would invite them in to have a seat at the table? You see, that was never how Jesus was. Because if that were the case, then Jesus wouldn't have been known as a drunk, a liar, and a thief, because that's who he spent time with. His table was the most, in many people's respects, the most reckless and disgusting table to the religious leaders. Because it was everybody that they didn't like. And Jesus was like, all of you guys, come to my table. I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know that you matter. I want you to know that everything, whether you're a Giants fan, a Philly fan, and yes, even the Redskins fan, that you have a seat at this table. You see, it gets a little uncomfortable when we have to even check our own bias at the door and say, all right, God, it's not about me. You have redeemed me. You have rolled back my sin forever through Jesus. And so now I'm going to make sure that every person is known. I love what Shannon Elder says. She says, one of the most important things that you and I can do on this earth, this side of heaven, is to let people know they're not alone. And what a sad testament to, and I will say, the Western church, that it excludes people from having a seat at the table to know about Jesus. And I can't tell you the number of emails and phone calls that I've had from individuals who say, I was kicked out of a church because, and fill in the blank. They wouldn't let me come back. They wouldn't let me be a part of the table because I had something in my life that they disagreed with. And so I don't even get to hear about Jesus. I don't get to learn how to love Jesus. I don't get to learn about the sin that's in my life so that I can be redeemed. And so how crazy is it that Christians would cordon off the table and say, you're not invited. You need Jesus, but get yourself together. When God says, no, actually, I want to invite everyone to the table. See, that's a stark contrast to the way our culture works currently. Agree with me or go away. Agree with me or I'll block you. I'll write you off. I'll cancel you. See, I love the fact that God, through Jesus, does not participate at all in cancel culture. Every person is invited to the table to learn, be loved, and know that they're valued.